Welcome, everyone. Today, we're going to tackle a core concept in governance and risk management. This is something every professional really needs to know. It's called the 3 lines model. So, let's break it down.
And a big thank you for joining us here at Audit Guidebook. Whether you're a student deep in the books, a new auditor just starting out, or even a seasoned pro who just needs a quick refresher, well, this explainer is for you. It's all part of our Practical Guide to Audit series.
So, let's just start with a really big and honestly kind of confusing question. Think about any large company, right? All those moving parts. Who is truly responsible for managing risk? When something goes wrong, who's on the hook? Is it the department heads, that special risk team, the auditors? It can feel like a real puzzle, and getting the answer wrong, well, that can be super costly.
And that's exactly the puzzle the 3 lines model is here to solve. Now, you got to forget the old way of thinking, this idea of just building defenses. The modern version, which was updated back in 2020, is a total mindset shift. It's not just about defense anymore. It's about collaboration, about having super clear roles, and, this is the big one, it's about creating value, not just stopping bad things from happening.
Okay, so before we can even get into the 3 lines, we have to start at the top. Where does accountability truly begin? It's with the foundation of the whole model, the governing body.
So, the governing body, you can think of them as the board of directors, or maybe an audit committee. They have the ultimate oversight. They're the ones setting the strategy, deciding how much risk the company is willing to take, and, so important, holding management's feet to the fire. And they've got one other absolutely critical job, making sure internal audit stays independent. That's a huge piece of the puzzle, and we'll definitely circle back to it.
All right, let's get right into the action with our first line. This is really the heart of the business, right? It's where everything happens, day in and day out. These are the folks on the front lines.
So, who are we talking about here? Well, the first line is your managers and staff, the people running the core business. Think sales, procurement, operations. Now, if you take one thing away about the first line, let it be this. They own the risk. They own it. If a risk exists in their department, it's their responsibility. Period.
And because they own that risk, they are responsible for the whole shebang, from identifying potential problems to designing controls to stop them and, fixing things when they inevitably break. You can think of them as the true first responders to risk. They live with it every single day.
But hey, the first line isn't just left out there on an island all alone. Nope. They've got backup, a whole team of specialists, in fact. And that brings us to the second line, the expert oversight functions.
Now, the second line's whole job is to help equip the first line. They're providing the tools, the frameworks, all the expertise needed to manage risk effectively. But, and this is a really crucial distinction, they don't own the day-to-day operational risk. Their role is to guide, to support, and also to challenge the way the first line is doing things. So, this is where you'll find departments like enterprise risk management. You'll hear that called ERM, compliance, legal, information security, that group. They're the ones building the policies, keeping an eye on risks across the entire company, and then packaging all that information up for senior management. I like the analogy that they're kind of like the coaches, helping the first line play their game even better.
And that finally brings us to the third line. Now, this group, they're different. They stand completely apart from the day-to-day management and operations of the business. And that separation is exactly what allows them to provide a truly independent perspective.
The third line is, of course, internal audit. Their core mission is to give independent and objective assurance. Or to put it in plain English, they're the ultimate fact-checkers for the organization. And who's their main client? Who do they report to? It's not management, it's the governing body itself.
So internal audit's job is to put the whole system under a microscope. They're looking at both the first and the second lines and asking the tough questions. Are these controls actually working? Is our risk framework really as good as we think it is? They connect the dots, they find the weaknesses, and they report those findings, the good, the bad, and the ugly, straight to the top.
And this slide really gets to the heart of what makes the third line so special. Look, the first 2 lines, they ultimately answer to senior management. But internal audit, they're functionally accountable directly to the board. And that organizational independence, well, that's their superpower. It's what gives them the freedom to be totally objective without any fear of favor. So, okay, we've got these 3 distinct lines, right? But here's the thing, they're pretty much useless if they work in isolation. The real power of this model only gets unlocked when they stop acting like separate silos and start working together. It really has to be a team sport.
And this little table just lays it out so clearly. The first line manages the risk. The second line monitors the risk. And the third line provides assurance on the risk. Manage, monitor, assure. It's that simple. 3 very different roles, but they all share one single unified purpose.
Okay, so theory is great, but let's make this real. Let's walk through a classic example. Imagine there's potential fraud in the procurement department. How would our 3 lines actually respond to that?
Okay, so first up, the first line, that's the procurement manager, notices some really irregular purchases and immediately reports it. That triggers the second line, compliance, to step in. They review what policies were breached and figure out where the controls failed. Then, the third line, internal audit, comes in to do a deep dive investigation. They're looking for the root cause and evaluating the entire fraud control system. And finally, all of this gets reported straight up to the governing body, who then turns to management and demands accountability. You see how each line has a clear, coordinated part to play?
So, what's the big deal? Why should you really care about all this? What's the payoff for getting it right? Well, this is where the model stops being just theory and becomes a supercritical tool for your career, whether you're studying the stuff in a classroom or applying it in a boardroom. Honestly, the benefits are huge. When everyone knows their role, you get clear ownership. That strengthens your whole control environment and gets rid of wasted, duplicated effort. But ultimately, all that clarity builds the one thing that every single organization absolutely needs to survive: trust. We're talking trust from investors, trust from regulators, and trust from your customers.
So here's your key takeaway. The next time you're looking at any organization or even just a single business process, I want you to use this model as your lens. Ask yourself, okay, who's the first line here? Who's the second? And who's providing that independent assurance as the third line? It is such a simple yet incredibly powerful framework for understanding how a business really ticks.
Hey, if this explainer helped clear things up for you on the 3 lines model, do us a favor and hit that like button. And be sure to subscribe to Audit Guidebook so you don't miss our next one. We really love breaking down these complex topics to help you out on your learning journey.
Thanks so much for watching. Remember, here at Audit Guidebook, our goal is simple. We want to help you learn the concepts, apply them in the real world, and advance your career. We'll see you in the next explainer.